All righty then. Well, of course, let's bring you this. Government Communications in collaboration with the Department of Public Service and Administration, of course, hosted a webinar to educate the public on how to apply for government jobs. Now, this particular webinar focused on the requirements as well as to unpack the details of the new Z83 form. So let's get more on this from the PSA Employment Management Director, Renel Singh-Dastaghir, who joins us now to give us some clarity. Thank you for your time, Renel, and good morning to you. Now, it seems there will be a new set of questions that potential applicants or even applicants have to expect. Take me through them, please. Renel, I think your audio is muted. Can you please do me a favor, just check your audio? I can see, there we go. I can hear you.
Yeah, apologies for that.
No problem.
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers. Yes, there was a new Z83 that was introduced on the 1st of January 2021. And the purpose of the development of the new form was based on lessons learned from previous experience on the application of the Z83. The intention is to promote good governance and a high level of professional ethics in the public service, as well as to promote strategies related to anti-corruption. All in the attempt to build a capable and developmental state, obviously linked to the government priorities of putting the citizen first. Some of the new questions that we've introduced has been related to previous criminal record convictions, whether a person has been dismissed from the public service for misconduct, as well as disciplinary cases that may be pending against an individual at the point of application. The other issues that is more vital is issues related to doing business with the state. As you would know, Tumelo, there's a massive anti-corruption drive, and the intention is to actually know upfront the type of individuals that are applying for posts. And remember, in the public service, we do not allow a process where a person is doing business with the state and should be employed by the public service. Hence, the questions that are being, the other issues that's also being asked is linked to the reference checking that's conducted in terms of the public service.
Right.
We conduct personnel suitability checks prior to appointment. So these are linked to the very questions that's asked on the Z83 up front to try and avert a situation of misrepresentation by a candidate. So if a candidate would have misrepresented themselves in any way, that would then lead to a disqualification, or if appointed and found out later, it can lead to disciplinary processes within the department. Yeah. So there is a declaration that's now on the form, which all candidates have to sign when they submit an application for employment.
And I understand this is a simple yes or no question, right? You have to click either yes or no when you apply. But let's address also how you plan to deal with perhaps, let's say, an applicant who was either previously dismissed or perhaps had faced a disciplinary hearing within, the department or at work.
Yes, there is provisions in terms of the regulatory framework. So if a person was dismissed previously and failed to declare it, that is a form of misrepresentation, which would mean the person would be disqualified in terms of the application process. But yes, in terms of prohibition of re-employment, there is also regulations that we have which has a cooling off period attached to each level of misconduct. So there is procedures put in place in terms of the Public Service Act and regulations that supports these processes in terms of applications for employment and making sure that there's a level of integrity that's applied when individuals apply for posts in the public service.
And in terms of the Z83 forms and timelines, this has already been implemented. So are we saying that for any potential job seekers, they will find these Z83 forms already waiting for them?
That's correct. You would find them on the DPSA website at www.dpsa.gov.za. And you will also find them on various government websites. In fact, all government websites have loaded the new Z83 form, which take effect on the 1st of January. The old form is no longer applicable, and I think this is vital for the public to understand that if you were to apply on the old form, it's no longer gazetted, so it will no longer be applicable, and it will lead to disqualification in terms of the application. So to the public, it's vital that you make sure that you use the new Z83, which can be found on all government websites, and especially on the website that I've indicated as the DPSA website, where we advertise positions in government.
Yeah, and I understand that it was imperative for the department, right, to ensure they educate the public about this through a webinar, not just send out, just formal communication, but to ensure you engage at least virtually. Was there any response in terms of how, job seekers found the Z83 forms, perhaps saying, hey, we see the form is only in English, are there any other languages, were there any queries, were there any sort of concerns during your webinar, or any questions that you wanted to filter through during that platform?
Yeah, I think some of the questions was more related to how do you complete the form. There were some questions around, okay, if we're doing business with the state, or how do you specify public versus private experience in terms of the form. All this is necessary in terms of the processes linked to the shortlisting for that particular application. So if, for example, a person applies on the Z83, there's various questions that was then discussed in the webinar yesterday, and clarification given to the public on how to go about to complete it correctly and accurately in order to submit an application in good faith. So these are some of the things that was discussed yesterday. We went through each and every question on the Z83 as part of the webinar.
All right.
And we clarified each and every question in terms of that process.
All right,
and it was quite overwhelming response in terms of the audience at the webinar.
That's good, because it means that more people know about this and more people will spread the message, and hopefully, of course, they'll be able to fill in those forms so that you haven't to disperse some of them due to not them being filled correctly. But thank you for your time. Department of Public Service and Administration's Employment Management Director, Renel Singh-Dastaghir. Thank you for your time.